Whether you're in North or South Carolina or anywhere else in the world, enter the Cat Cave with D. White and Shannon Smith, a part of the Keep Pounding Podcast Network, powered by the Fans First Sports Network, where you can find shows such as Winning the Division and Inside the Vault. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are inside the Cat Cave for another week with your man Podcast Smitty representing Western North Carolina, and I am with the beast from the northeast of North Carolina, D. White, my brother. What's good, man?
Whole bunch of nothing, man. I always love that intro. It's good to see you again. Good to talk some Carolina Panthers football.
Oh, yeah, we are inching closer and closer to the football season. Still teasers out there. The OTAs, the practices, training camp is going on. Training camp's in full effect, with this week here with the mandatory training camps going on. But before we get into the talk of some football, we're going to talk about a little bit of summer action that went on in the NBA. Might we add, the Summer League is in conclusion, and the Charlotte Hornets won the Summer League championship. It was some good basketball going on as the rookies, the young guys, are earning their spots in the NBA. And of course, someone who's been watching the Summer League a good bit, our very own D. White here. I'm pretty sure he has a little something to elaborate on the Charlotte Hornets basketball with the Summer League. So, D, let's go.
Yep, man. First time in franchise history that we won a summer league, which is great, obviously. Hopefully a sign of things to come for the team. Con Knipple also took away MVP honors for the summer league championship game. It was good for him. It was great for him. KJ Simpson played pretty great throughout the whole summer league. And, I mean, it was a good team win. Everybody played good. Our rookie, number 4 pick, Con Knipple, finished that game with, I believe, 24 points. We almost let them back in it, but Hornets were able to pull it out. It looked like we were pretty dominant once we got to the playoffs. So, I mean, congrats to the Charlotte Hornets. I hope it continues. I'm a Hornets fan as well. So I'm very excited to see how these guys' future will fall into place.
Definitely like the win for the Summer League of Basketball. The Hornets got a rebound, having a very tumultuous year last year. But there are signs of things to come. These young guys were looking great. It's always good to see some basketball, some winning basketball, might we add. It's always good to see. But now that we got that out of the way, a little hurrah for the Hornets for the Summer League of Basketball is finished. We're going to get into some football, of course, with it being the summer, with it being the slow period of football. We do have some things that are coming up for the Panthers. So D is going to add on a few other things as well, too. And then we'll get into the obvious news that we need to talk about with our current Panthers. So D, a little more. Let's go.
Training camp's back in full swing. We're happy to see the guys back. We're just ready. It feels like it's been a long off season. It's been a very long time since the draft. We're eager to see our guys moving around. Derek Brown was cleared for all activity, which is great. Training camp's going to be that much better, that much more competitive with him in it. But the coaching staff has already said they're going to try to bring him along a little slowly, which is smart. Our second-round pick, Nick Scorton, was finally signed before training camp. He stated that he was never going to hold out. He was going to let his agents and the Panthers work on that. And he just stayed grinding, stayed in Charlotte the whole time. So that was also good to see. We don't have a Shamar Stewart situation. Hope that young man gets his money as well. Robert Hunt, Big Rob, he got engaged. It was. We're always happy to see people be happy. So, big ups to him. Big ups to his fiance. Um, Cornerback Trey Swilling was signed to the roster. He has played a total of 3 games in the NFL for, I believe, 3 different teams altogether. And in a corresponding move, quarterback Ethan Garbers was released uh, during the first training camp practice. One of the guys that some of us was concerned about. I'll admit I was concerned about it as well. Damani Richardson has already started proving his worth, coming up with the first interception of training camp. It's it's dope for him. It sucks that it was against Bryce, but first interception. He's kind of an underdog on the team. He wants that position. He's doing a good job getting it. And the biggest news of lately current news, linebacker Josie Jewell released from the Panthers after being on the concussion protocol for 7 months following the game against the Cardinals. That's very concerning for obvious reasons. The press release, all the news articles are saying he was still dealing with issues 7 months after the incident. Um, for some Panther fans like me, it'll be a reminder of the Luke Kuechly situation. So having that gentleman, focus on his health, which is what he wanted to do, is always a higher priority than playing football. At the end of the day, it's just a game. Your health, your family is way more important. So, I mean, I'm sure I can speak for both of us. The Cat Cave, all of us wish Josie Jewell a healthy return, whether that's in football or whatever. That's bigger than football. We hope to see you come back. We want you to come back. We believe he wants to come back, but at the end of the day, your health is priority.
Definitely. I must say that it was a shock seeing that because, Josie has been dealing with some things. Football is a physical sport. We all know that. There is always a there's always a chance that injury will happen and that injury might have long-term effects, but that is the game. That is the game of football. That is the world we live in when it comes down to football, when it comes down to playing that spot, especially at linebacker position, a spot that the Panthers kind of have that are few. We Our position at the linebacker spot is few and far between. We need linebackers, but we also need guys that we can put out on the field. But also too, with Josie Jewell being released off of the team, that's going to leave room for who's going to want that spot. Who you thinking?
It's man, I have a favorite, Nomura Tusivi Nomura from USC. He's a hitter. He reminds me of Frankie Louvu, and I hate saying that because nobody wants to be compared to anybody. But I'm also a big component of have as many Polynesian players on your football team as possible because they're big, they're strong, they will hit you hard. And I've never seen a Polynesian that couldn't handle himself. He's my favorite. I mean, we got Bam Martin Scott as well. Claudin Cherilus, I believe. If I'm butchering his name, I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
And Christian Roseboom, who's expected to fill that position. I mean, I see good things from him in all his highlights from the Rams. So I mean, I got my favorite, but I got who I believe is probably going to start, which is Roseboom.
Yeah, I think that Roseboom is going to be the guy that's going to be doing it because he's an Evero guy. When Evero
Mm-hmm.
was with the Rams at one point in time, so that's what I was thinking was going to assume that spot there with Josie Jewell's release, which of course we hate that for Josie Jewell. Get well, definitely. If everything goes to plan, Josie Jewell could rejoin the team. So
Mhm.
who knows? But at that time, of course, in football terms and sports terms, there's always next man up. And that
Yes.
is what is going to be going on for the Carolina Panthers. Now, our news has been completed. We talked about the Panthers, having the release of Josie Jewell. We talked about some good events for Panthers. We talked about training camp. Talked about the Hornets winning Summer League. Now, let's go into our treat for this week. Now, we've talked about our all time Panthers offenses and defense. We talked about our top 10 current players. Last week, we had a real fun time talking about our favorite Panther moments as Panther fans. But of course, with the good comes the bad, the lows. The highs are not as sweet if you don't go through the lows. Success is not always great if it's not for the painful moments. And might we say, as Panther fans, we have experienced some highs and we've experienced some lows and some painful moments. So this week, our top 5 low moments as Panther fans. So D, I began last week with our great moments, but now we'll go ahead and begin with your number 5 lowest
Our
moment as a
number
Panther fan.
5, man. Oh man, this. I've been looking forward to this show, and then as soon as we get on, it's like, man, it hits me. I gotta think about this stuff again. My low number 5, I could have went 2 different ways. The first way, which is my honorable mention, would be Christian McCaffrey being traded. That sucked for me. He was pretty much homegrown. He wanted to be here, never wanted to leave. The same for my actual number 5. The Panthers traded DJ Moore to the Bears for the number 1 pick. When if you knew you couldn't pay Brian Burns, you could have traded him. You weren't going to trade Derrick Brown. DJ Moore was a Steve Smith replacement after all these years.
Oh, yeah.
He was the guy you could count on no matter what. Small as he was, throw him the ball, he's going to get to 1,000 yards a year, hands down. Almost with one hand, maybe with none. He was that good, but the Panthers traded him so we could get our future at quarterback, which I'm happy to have Bryce, but initially losing DJ Moore was a blow, to put it lightly.
Yeah, I must agree. As a wrestling fan, Ted DiBiase said it best. Everybody's got a price.
Mm.
And of course, that was the price of getting Bryce, was to give DJ Moore up. And it seemed like they sold the farm to give Bryce that number 1 pick so the Panthers could have Bryce Young. Now, I didn't think about an honorable mention, but I do have an honorable mention. I'm going to match your honorable mention with my honorable mention with my man Steve Smith. And he became a Raven.
I thought about that too.
That was rough, considering the fact that, Steve Smith, as much as I don't want to say it, I get the business move because sports, we all know, of course, when I grew up and realized that sports was a business, that was a gift and a curse for me. But as we grow, we know that sports is a business. And that was a business decision. But to me, still, it's rough and it's
Definitely.
tough. And it was hard seeing Steve Smith with another uniform on that wasn't Panther uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my honorable mention there. My play cuz Steve Smith is my honorable mention. But now we'll go to my number five. My number five was the hiring of Frank Reich over Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, that was good.
That's the reason why I felt like that was a bad move because Steve Wilkes, when Matt Rule was fired, the Panthers were 1-4, and Matt Rule, his time was up. And Steve Wilkes, they insert Steve Wilkes in there, and they started winning,
Mm-hmm.
and they got to a 7-10 record. Yes, short of the playoffs, I get it. But when Steve Wilkes had that team, it was a different look to that Panthers team. It was a different look. The Panthers played harder, played tougher. They finished. They were able to play well defensively with Steve Wilkes being the defensive coordinator. And they played well defensively. And offensively, they started to click. When the defense clicked, the offense started to click. And the Panthers won. He was 6-6. It was a 500 record that he had. And it seemed like, hey, the Panthers should give him a full year.
Right.
Give him a full year, see what he does as a head coach. But no, the Panthers went the fever pitch and took Frank Reich. Now, of course, if you're a longtime Panther fan, you know that the inaugural quarterback for the Panthers was Frank Reich. He was the very first quarterback before Kerry Collins assumed. After that, so I understand the move because it would have been a great feel good story. Frank Reich comes home and coaches the team that he began with, but unfortunately, that did not go well. You got to be careful with alums sometimes, hiring alums. And as we all know, Frank Reich did not last very long as Carolina Panthers head coach. So my number five was the hiring of Frank Reich. I mean, no knock to him as a coach. Just some guys fit, some guys don't. My number five.
Anytime people bring up Matt Rule, I already get pissed off.
I understand.
Frank Wright didn't he throw our first touchdown
Yep.
for the franchise?
Yep.
And even then he was replaced by another quarterback that same year.
Yes.
Same thing happened to him as a coach.
Yes. How odd. How odd. How odd.
History repeats itself. I just want to throw this tidbit in because I understand. You brought up Steve Smith leaving. That was definitely tough. That was about as tough for me because I played defense when I was in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it. Trey Boston was one of my favorite players. UNC alum. He will always be one of my favorite players.
Yes.
Seeing him leave and Thomas Davis leave, playing for the Chargers, sucked for me.
I agree.
But Steve Smith, that one definitely, I could see why that would be your number five. Your number four, I have no disagreements with. Frank Reich should have never took that. It should have been Steve Wilkes all day, every day, even on Sundays. So I have no disagreements to that at all.
Yeah. But hey, let's go. Number four.
Number four. Another sad moment. Luke Kuechly's final concussion.
Yes.
Seeing him on the football field crying. As a man, it wasn't even you need to be tough. Luke was the definition of toughness.
Of course.
Him and Thomas Davis.
Yes.
That man gave his heart and soul to the football field. Was one of the best defensive players we've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
That's ever played. Seeing that man give everything he could and being hurt on the field, it sucked for several reasons. And you brought up we never know when things happen in players' careers, like Ryan Shazier. Luke Kuechly's final concussion hurt me on a different level because it wasn't a Carolina Panther fan being hurt that the best defensive player was out of the game. It was this man, this godly man
Mm-hmm.
got hurt.
Mm.
He you don't see players that tough being that hurt and
Mm.
actually crying, regardless if you're mad, regardless of you break bones playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
Watching that man cry hurt me.
Wow. That was heartbreaking. Very, very heartbreaking. And I definitely see why that was number 4, because any Panther fan knows the effect and knows the prowess, the great play of Luke Kuechly and what he meant to this squad, this franchise. Everyone knew. And seeing a player that impactful go down with an injury, it's hard. I see why that's number 4. Now, my number 4 was the 2010 Carolina Panthers going 2-14. John Fox's final year as head coach. Now, Carolina's went 2-14 and then went 2-15, of course. But this 2-14 was tough because I believe that was uh, that was 6 years removed. Nope, 7 years removed from the Panthers going to the Super Bowl. Jake Delhomme was injured around that time, and that was around his final year. That was when it was kind of going down from that moment. Jimmy Clausen was the quarterback at that time. It was a rough transition to that team. It was very rough going from seeing the squad contend and the downside of
Mhm.
that happening. That was heartbreaking to see, and that was my number 4 because I just knew at that time it was just, you got to throw it all out. You got to start over again. John Fox was gone. We all knew. But the good thing about it was the next year, Ron Rivera becomes coach. And we drafted a young man by the name of Cameron Jarrell Newton with the first overall pick in next year's draft. So it wasn't great. It wasn't good. But it wasn't all bad. But that's my number 4.
It's more like a rose from the concrete type story.
Absolutely.
And what, in 4 years we made it to another Super Bowl?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And
Can't,
MVP and all the great things Cam done. And yes, getting back to the promised land was a big thing.
oh yeah, that's a good one.
Oh
That's a good
yeah. So now we'll go to your number 3.
one. My number 3, I just mentioned it, going to the Super Bowl in 4 years and losing it. I don't want to bring up Cam not jumping on the ball. I don't care.
Mm, mm.
That was one play. We we were playing from behind. We had Von Miller destroying our offensive line. We couldn't get anything going offensively. It was tough. Our wide receivers, they weren't the caliber of wide receiver that you would think would be in a Super Bowl. Now I don't want to knock them. I don't want to say they were bad players, but I mean, it seemed that year that the Panthers focused on their defense, which was historically great. They kind of retooled the offensive line that year, which was great. But besides a very great Greg Olson, there was nobody that was like on an elite level. I mean, you had Philly Brown, you had Ted Ginn Jr., who's a burner, but I mean, even that year he struggled with drops. And I mean, those were your top 2 out of 3. I mean, Jericho Cotchery. It we didn't have enough firepower for that offense. I mean, Jay Steele was still in there banging and doing his thing, but getting that high and watching this team go 15-1 and get to the Super Bowl and just run out of steam was hard. And I mean, Luke's last concussion was definitely up there for me, but just from a team aspect, losing this Super Bowl was like again the signal that that was the start of us having to rebuild again. Because after that, I mean, we lost Josh Norman.
Mm-hmm.
I think Starr ended up leaving. Thomas Davis, he had to to get healthy because he had broke his arm, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot, and losing that Super Bowl was a big just heartbreak for the state of North and South Carolina.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's my number 3.
And that was a rough time because
That was
my
our
family
year.
was on cloud nine. Like my mom, my dad, my sister, my niece, they were on cloud nine. They were ready. We were all ready. And
Mm-hmm.
man, that was. But like you said, not enough firepower. Peyton Manning really didn't have to do much in that Super Bowl. It was the defense that did what they were supposed to do when they just went out there and that was their assignment, and they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was rough watching that, very rough. So I get why that would be number 3. And my number 3 was the 2008 divisional playoffs where the Panthers played the Arizona Cardinals and Jake Delhomme 6 total turnovers in that one game, and the wild card squad, Arizona Cardinals, go on and they have their story run
Mm-hmm.
to the Super Bowl that year. They had that story run to the Super Bowl. It was very, very rough seeing that out of Jake Delhomme. Because the thing about it was, the reason why I was so disappointed was the Panthers were the number 2 team in the NFC. They were 12-4 that year, got the first round bye, won the NFC South. 33-13 was the final score. It was atrocious. A game that Carolina was on paper supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
They were supposed to win it, and it didn't happen. And it was a very, very rough turn of events. That's what led to 2009 being an 8-8 season with Jake Delhomme getting hurt. And then after that, the ending of an era in 2010. This is where the dominoes kind of fell with that loss in the divisional playoffs. So, yes, that was my number 3.
That's definitely a good one because without you even finishing it, it was the main thing I remember about that year was the catch that ended the Super Bowl.
Yes.
How Kurt Warner brought the Arizona Cardinals back. And it was supposed to be a storybook ending for him too. He undrafted player that, just ascended to the very top. Larry Fitzgerald possibly getting his first ring, who as a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
Him not having a Super Bowl doesn't take away everything he's done. But it would have been nice to see Larry
Oh, yeah.
Fitzgerald get one.
Oh, yeah.
But that year for the Panthers, it was just it was heartbreaking.
It
I
was. It was
mean,
supposed to be another run to the Super Bowl.
mm-hmm. And it's like prior, every time we had a good year, we were always a force in the playoffs. So to have that heartbreak, it was it was sad.
It was.
So
Definitely.
that's definitely a
Whew.
good one.
But now, number two.
Number two. It's fitting that this is number two because this was a very, I'll say, poopy situation. The one of the greatest defensive players in our history. They gave him his own press conference just so he could retire. Luke Kuechly's injury and then press conference when you kind of knew what he was about to say, but you were hoping like, nah, he just needs a little time. But for him to again show that emotion, show all the heart that he had, to say that he wants to play but he physically can't. Luke Kuechly is was and forever will be wildly loved and recognized and remembered for being a dominant player. It doesn't matter where he goes in the world. A Carolina Panther fan is going to remember Luke Kuechly. It doesn't matter how much weight he gains or loses, which it seems like he hasn't gained or lost any weight since he stopped playing.
Mm-mm.
Luke Kuechly gave his all, and watching again him show that emotion to say that he wants to keep playing, but he just physically can't was tough. And it almost made you want to shed a tear.
Oh, yeah.
I still remember that press conference, how he walked in, how he had his blazer on, how, again, everybody's hoping. Nah, not Luke. Come on now. 8 years? Come on. No.
Yeah.
But him, I can't. I have to step away from the game. Having as many concussions as he had in a small amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Him wanting to, still live a healthy life. In a league that is kind of hard to talk about concussions and CTE and stuff like that. It's real, and if he would have kept playing, it would have seriously affected his future. I mean, we think about football as a right now thing. Like, we want them to win, we want them to be tough, we don't want them to give up. But these players are giving everything, and when they can't, some people are just take Cam for example. He got that shoulder injury, and he physically couldn't do the things that we knew Cam was physically able to do, and people turned on him. Luke Kuechly was smart enough to know, hey, this is a serious head injury. We can't let this slide. I want a future. And as much as we hated the decision, we respected it. We understood it. I would never be mad at Luke for walking away from the game for his help.
No, not at
So
all.
that's my
Not at
two.
all. It's one of those say it ain't so moments.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those like, oh, come on, man. One more year, one more year. But,
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things with an athlete. Athletes they know themselves better than we do. They know what they can and can't do. They know that, hey, look, this is me at 100%. This is me at 90, 80, and so on and so on. So I know that you want more. I get it. But
Mm-hmm.
if I can't give you more, you'll hold that against me.
Definitely.
And that I do understand. So, yes, sad as it is, hats off to Luke Kuechly. Thank you for your time. Although short, but it was great, and we miss you.
Definitely.
We miss you. But hey, that's life.
Yeah.
My number two was Super Bowl 38. John Casey's kick out of bounds. Flagged it. Penalty. Tom Brady gets the ball. 1 minute and 8 seconds, which is like an eternity to someone like Tom Brady, because one of the greatest 2 minute quarterbacks of all time handed it over to his kicker Adam Vinatieri, and the Patriots got another ring, 32-29. Game was tied, 29-29. Game looked like it was going in overtime, and the kick went out of bounds, and they got it on the 40, and there you have it. You never saw John Casey kick off ever again as a Carolina Panther. You never saw it after that.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. And that's rough because, John Casey is a cornerstone of the Carolina Panthers. He's been a long-time kicker for many years for the Panthers, one of the players that has had a long tenure as a Carolina Panther, and having one of your tenured guys that happened to that being tied to his legacy, that's got to mess with the mind frame, the psyche of any player, especially with that clutch, that small of time that it was. If it would have been in the third quarter, second quarter, maybe first, might not be talking about this. We might not have this discussion. But it was at that time and done it that way.
Mm-hmm.
My number two, that should have been the ring for the Panthers and could have been a ring that Tom Brady would not have won.
Mm-hmm.
John Casey's out of bounds kick.
That's a good one, because stuff like that reminds me of DJ Moore's touchdown from PJ Walker.
Mm-hmm.
They flagged him for taking his helmet off the field, but the very same week somebody else did it and no flag. Yeah. It reminds me of going when the Panthers played the Buccaneers, and Chuba had been having a great season and he fumbled it, and
yes. Ouch.
Moments like that, it hits, because Chuba's a great player. Yes. DJ Moore's a great player. Bryce Young, when he threw it was last season, he threw a touchdown and we were leading with 30 seconds and Baker Mayfield drove it down the field and Tampa Bay beat us. Moments like this hurts, but losing an actual championship, takes it obviously to another level, and it stings. I'm sure as much as we hated it, that's something that he, in a heartbeat, would take back.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I understand. I sympathize. It sucks, but it's hard to beat Tom Brady as well. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, gotta be with one. Gotta be the GOAT. Gotta be the GOAT. I would say he's the GOAT. But yes, now number one. Take it away.
Everybody that knows me knows I'm a huge Panther fan. They know I'm a huge fan of Superman, of number one. When the Panthers decided, when Matt Rule, no, I don't think it was Matt Rule yet, was it? When they decided, I was ready to blame him for it. When they decided that Cam Newton was not worth having on the roster anymore, that irked my soul. And I saw this video yesterday, and his phrase it made me want to say it. I'm gonna tell you what jams my Glock. You got a certified bullet in Cam Newton whether it's red zone, running the ball, or passing the ball. You have an option with him. You let this man give everything he had to this team, put butts in seats, get pretty much a whole generation of people to love the Panthers, fans of other teams dabbing, rappers from other states on our sidelines just to take a picture, to represent, to be on Cameron Newton's side. The influence he had to not only the Carolina Panthers, but to the game of football. You decide that he's not worth keeping on the team at all? Why? I heard Cam Newton's better than no Cam Newton. Who did you have to back him up? I think we had our best quarterback room was Cam Newton, Derek Anderson, and I can't think of his name, Joe Webb.
Yep. Oh, Joe.
That was our best quarterback room. And Cam, hands down, was the best quarterback we've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
But instead of letting him heal, you decide to kick this man to the curb when we realistically don't have any other options. Mm. You tell the world that he's free to choose another team when really you don't want him. So you release him. Number one draft pick, best player in arguably the history of the team.
Yes.
You let him go? That's unforgivable.
That was rough. Watching that was absolutely rough. And it was like, is this really happening? Once again, it's one of those things. Is it really happening?
Mm-hmm.
Is this what we're doing?
This man loved the Carolinas.
Yeah. It'd be different if you wanted to leave. If you wanted to Julius Peppers it. Or if you wanted to do that. If he was ready just to leave. He wanted to be here. And that tells you something. When it was like, hey, I'm good where I'm at. I'm good here. I'm loved here. This is what it is. And it's just like, oh, no thanks. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Go on with your life. And you're like, why? And as you can see, when that happened, that's when the wheels started to fall off. Do you think that's why front office and head coaching and all of that lost its they lost their kinship? Is that where you think that's where the disconnect started?
I feel like it because Ron Rivera, you could look at Ron, he didn't want to lose Cam. Nobody wanted to lose Cam. But it was like, if you let your MVP, your best player at the time, you let him go while he's hurt, while he's trying to get himself back together. Do you really think another MVP caliber player is going to want to come to this team?
Nope.
Are you going to be able to fill his shoes? Because that's what they're going to expect from you.
Yes.
You got to fill his shoes and play better than he did for the fans to love you because he was that loved. But instead of doing that, you lose. I don't want to say you lose a whole fan, but you lose a lot of fans because this man, he brought you half your ratings at least.
Yeah.
He brought you half the fans that's in the seats at least from his play alone. You let this man go. You let this man. You put it out that this man is free to go where he wants when you know he doesn't want to go anywhere. And then you expect us to miraculously bounce back. That was the tipping point to where this team started going downhill because you couldn't control your ego because Cam, whether it was you couldn't deal with his personality or you were fearful of his personality or what have you. Cam was always Carolina's where I want to be. I want to take this team to the Super Bowl, which he did. I want this team to be on the map. I want this team to be one of the teams that everybody's scared of playing. You respect that logo.
Mm-hmm.
You lose Cam, you have no quarterback. You already didn't really have I don't want to say receiver. You didn't have elite receivers.
No.
You were you just really started getting what you got DJ Moore after that, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
But during that season, you already lost Kelvin Benjamin.
Yep.
Your next big wide receiver you go for was Devin Funches.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have Steve Smith.
Nope.
Your only offensive player that you had was what? You still had Greg Olson for a little
That's
bit,
it.
and you had Jonathan Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
But they need a quarterback. What are you doing?
Gotta get the ball downfield. You do. I mean, and that was what Cam did. And it was one of those things where you're just like, just how it was said for him to leave. Just like you said, how it was said, oh, he's free to go to other teams when you knew he didn't want to leave, and that was not what he wanted to do, and that was not his plan. It was more along the lines of, you got to go, man. But the pressure to win now is what it is. The pressure to win, or to rebuild it, or to build it back up. Because it's one of those things. Like, you want to build it back up. We can build it back up. We can do this. It's dime a dozen. We can get a guy to replace him. Well, you may have a guy now. You may, and I do hope that Bryce has a great career and does those things that Cam may not have been able to do with this team, and hopefully it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get that every time. A good friend of mine, my man Jason Colenso, he said it best: the NFL stands for not for long,
Mm-hmm.
and that is exactly the trajectory of it. Because you're here today and you're gone tomorrow. Anything like an injury or a bad move from the front office or a bad move on the field, on top of that too, bad move outside of here, and you're out of here.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
was
wrap.
it was prime example of not just our team, but the NFL as a whole. Like these players give their all for your team, and when they're done with them,
They're gone.
every NFL franchise has multiple players who gave everything, and they ended up trading them or releasing them or whatever. Tom Brady, the GOAT,
Yep.
Cam Newton. Let's see, who else do we got? I'll say Thomas Davis.
Yep.
Shoot, Jonathan Stewart,
Yep.
Graham Gano at the time. Why
Yep.
release him? Uh, who else we got? It's so many guys that you draft. You know they're great players. They've been great players for you, but when they get hurt, when they're not playing as great, there's no loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. It's a business. You want to win. The game of football is to win. There's no loyalty in this game, and it shows. And I feel like the Panthers, even if they wanted to rebuild, I understand you wanting to rebuild, but you did it too early.
Yep.
That wasn't the time. And
No.
Cam Newton was he was your bread and butter. Even if he's not playing great, wait until you get somebody to replace him. Don't just let him go.
Yeah.
And you saw like when they let him go, they had nobody to replace him or his production for years.
Yeah. And they got nothing. And that was one of the things also too. They let him go and got absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no trade, it couldn't have traded him, couldn't have done anything like that. So it pretty much was a walk, and you got absolutely nothing for him, and that is more demoralizing because you would want some pieces or some type of piece, something.
For your MVP. Yeah,
Yes, and that's what I was looking at, because it was like he was gone and it was nothing. It was like you got nothing in return, nothing to build off of, and you're like, oh my gosh, where did we go wrong? You went wrong because you got nothing for him, but you also went wrong by letting him go. Hands down, hands down, not good.
that's why that's my number one.
Yeah, my number one. My number one, once again, it was one like my number one as greatest moments was the 15-1 season. My number one, not so great moment as a Panthers fan was the 1-15 season in 2001.
Mm,
They were 1-0 for 1 week.
mm.
Beat the Minnesota Vikings with Dante Culpepper at quarterback. And I like Dante Culpepper. He was a good replacement to Randall Cunningham. He looked great, had a great offense, by the way. Moss and Carter and all those guys were Carter retired. And this Minnesota Vikings squad, I don't know what happened. They ended up losing that game 24-13 to the Panthers. The Panthers were 1-0, and then 15 losses later. The Panthers were the low point, the laughing stock of the NFL. A guy by the name of Chris Winkie was the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. A very forgettable year. 15 consecutive losses. Not a great time to be alive as a Carolina Panther fan.
It's hard to beat a record like that. I mean, we recently had a 2-15, but 1-15 is like, at least we weren't like swept completely. But at that point, it's like it doesn't matter. One win, like that was.
And it was 16 weeks. And your last win was 16 weeks ago. They didn't win another game until week 1 of the next year.
A full year, 365 days of no winning. That's when, like, it reminds me of like the Brown fans when they had the paper bag over their face and stuff like that. That's tough.
Woo.
That's tough. Anytime if you're double digit losing and it's not like 10 or 11, if like most of the games you've played, you lost and not just by small amounts,
Got beat.
You're gonna lose your job probably.
Yeah.
And you can't be like, hey, no, we'll try again next year. Like, nah, we're not. No. You can go somewhere else. But for me and mine, we got to move on. And maybe that's a double-edged sword because I was just talking about loyalty. But, I mean, loyalty comes with winning.
It does. I mean, best way to put it. You know, it's easy to be loyal when you're winning. But when you looking at that, and it's like 15, their last win was week 1. And you're 1-15, it's like, get rid of everybody.
Yeah. Whatever you did, nah, we're not doing nothing related to that
anymore. We clean the house.
Yeah. And, dude, my new number one is Matt Rule. Anything Matt Rule. Because it took him too long to get fired. But yeah, that's a good number one. That's a good number one.
I get it. I definitely understand. This is the episode where it was a low point for us, everybody, here on the Cat Cave. But we did our top 5, or maybe our bottom 5. Not so great moments as Panther fans. But this week, this is another Cat Cave that we have done. You may now exit the Cat Cave. We will be back next week with another episode. We're inching close, everybody. We're close to the regular season. We will have football next week. Man, it's going to be a great time to be alive for Shannon Smith, D. White. We'll see you next week. Go Panthers.
Go Panthers. Keep pounding.
He got caught up again. He got caught up.
It's all good. It's all good.
Hey, that's all right. It got a little dark in here too. On top of that, got a little dark in here.
Yeah, it was a good transition. We're talking about dark times. I mean, the background, it worked out. It worked out.
It sure did.
But we gonna go ahead and sign out. And
Yep.
you guys stay safe. Keep pounding. Love your families.
All right. See y'all.